Reality recap.
Hi, Evelyn. Yes, I know you have the reunion. Yes, we have 2 more episodes. And then we have the reunion, of course.
I look like the slut. I look like a mom. She was like, you the one that look like you got a high body count hair. I fell the fuck out, y'all.
Candace, has Deborah reached out to you to apologize after the episode aired showing Chris did not flirt with her?
She wouldn't dare. She would get eaten for breakfast.
Oh boy.
No, she's doubling down.
Why would you go meet with Ray J without talking to Princess or letting her know why? Like, she's trying to justify that she told her after the fact and not supposed to make it.
What do you think of your ex-husband Jim coming out and saying you did not try to stop him from suing Shannon and Tamara?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, if his memory is a little foggy about what transpired back then, that's okay. However, he did admit that I had nothing to do with the...
Reality recap. Reality recap.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl V, very casual V, in my cheetah prints pajamas today. But it's your girl V with Reality Recap here for another Tea Talk session. And today we're talking about last night's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I always give you the episode information in case you're looking for it. So this is Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 15. The title of the episode was Chapter 3, Rebirth. If you're looking for it on other streaming platforms, it's now on Peacock the day after, if you want to watch it there. And yeah, we're here to talk about it. Before we get started, as always, please make sure that you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok on reality_recap, which you see right here, and also what you see scrolling across the screen. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Reality Recap 2876 so that you don't miss any of my live Tea Talks as well as my recorded sessions. Every show that I recap is housed on my YouTube channel. So please make sure you like the video, this video, and others. Share them and subscribe, please. Thank you very much. And as I mentioned, my Instagram, Facebook pages, you always get the reality piping hot. And today was no exception as I dropped some news about Love and Hip Hop ATL. I won't talk about it here because this is about RHOA, but make sure you go watch that. Also, some tea that's been circulating over the weekend. I was hesitant to post about it, but the rumor is really starting to grow legs. So I said, let me just let you guys know what the streets are saying. But the streets are saying, as well as there's a video, I put a short up on YouTube as well, but the streets are saying that Real Housewives of Atlanta might be coming to an end, allegedly. The source of this story, Radar Online, which has been known to drop some tea and be correct in the past about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Dorit and her almost losing her diamond. And, shortly after her securing her contract when she said she was going to share her relationship issues with PK on the show and the divorce and separation, etc. They have been known to drop tea in the past that has been valid. With that being said, Radar Online is alleging that Bravo, NBC are allegedly, I can't say that enough, maybe looking to scrap Real Housewives of Atlanta as a franchise altogether. After the lawsuit, $20 million lawsuit, as we know it, that was filed by Britt Eady. Now, this lawsuit was a part of the whole scandal of Kenya Moore Hair Care Spa, where she dropped these alleged pictures of Britney giving sloppy top. And later, Britney finding out that those pictures weren't her. She did not attend the reunion taping. She instead, while in New York, I guess instead of filming, she filed this lawsuit for $20 million. And in the lawsuit, she was claiming defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, sexual harassment, and fostering a hostile work environment. And she's saying that because she's saying, or allegedly saying, that she begged for Bravo to show her the images that Kenya had put up at the grand opening, but she wasn't shown. She just recently saw them, and that's when she put out her statement that it wasn't even her in those video, or it's not video, sorry, in those pictures on the poster boards, that it wasn't her. So she feels like allegedly Bravo withheld this information, causing stress, other cast members to not like her, all of the public scrutiny she's gone through, knowing that it was not her, and she just learning that is why she allegedly filed this lawsuit. So Bravo has not said anything. Uncle Daddy Andy has not said anything on if they are looking to scrap the show altogether. But the like I said, the rumor is growing legs, and the Radar Online article says that they spoke to an inside production who said that the network is just up to their knees in lawsuits where housewives and the shadiness and the dropping receipts at one time was what made the show great, and now it's just causing headache with lawsuits from Leah McSweeney, Caroline Manzo, Brandy Glanville, Nene, Bethany Frankel. Like, they have had enough. And I don't think that, they have to take on this lawsuit, but it seems like they are just at their wits' end, allegedly, and maybe looking to scrap the show. I said in my past predictions that I don't think that this lawsuit helps the case of trying to get Kenya back on the show. I know a lot of you were saying, well, if it wasn't her in the pictures, why is she fired? Why can't she come back? And it was the intent behind it, is my assumption, as to why it wouldn't be easy for her to come back, whether she meant it or not. I just think the intent behind it, she was looking to post this about Brittany, whether it was her or not. And then Brittany filing this lawsuit is just another layer as to why they may be frustrated with Kenya and may not ask her to come back. I could see the show being scrapped, if I'm being honest. If not scrapped, totally rebooted with brand new faces to get away from what happened on this season, as well as even with Phaedra coming back, guys, the ratings are not doing well at all. The ratings keep dropping every episode. I didn't see the ratings yet for this episode last night, but even from when Phaedra returned, I thought that would give the show a boost in ratings, and it did not. They're still in the 200,000 range viewership. So I don't know. I'd hate to see it go altogether. Again, I would love for them to make amends with Nene. Nene did say recently in one of her interviews that she's in a better place with Bravo and NBC. She's even willing to reconcile with Portia. Excuse me. So I would love to see Nene come back, us continue with Phaedra, bring Cherie back. Hell, bring Deshaun Snow back, give us some of those ladies and bring Kim back. She needs to check too. But I don't know. I just think I would hate to see it go all together. And hopefully there's a reboot, a refresh. We move forward from Britt Edie and her drama, as well as Kenya, and we figure it out. I secretly would love to see Kenya come back. Again, I don't think what she did was right. I think she's been reprimanded for it. I just don't know where this show goes from here, guys. I really don't. But that's the news in the streets. Again, I put a short video up on it on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's also on my Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok pages. Now, let's get into the episode, which I posted just one highlight of the episode this morning because I'm bored with RHOA right now. To add insult to injury, sorry. But I'm bored with it right now. I feel like we went all the way to Grenada just to fight about glam squads and donations. I expected more from this Grenada trip. Now, from a Grenada sightseeing excursion standpoint, the trip was dope. Watching them do the cooking, the waterfall, and last night was no exception with this really culturally infused jab celebration that we saw, learning the history behind it, and even seeing the sexy dancing and the whining and the twerking and the fine men. I told you these men out in Grenada is fine, y'all, and they just keep getting finer by the episode. But from what we know of a Housewives cast strip full of drama, full of receipts, proof, timelines, everything, it wasn't giving that. I can say that I'm not thrilled with or entertained by Kelly's divorce because everything that is playing out on the show, we already know, or I already know, and already shared with you. We know her husband was held contempt in court. We know that it's been a tumultuous divorce. Um, so I'm not that intrigued by it. It's not breaking news, and we're not really seeing the ins and out of their relationship. He's not filming. We're getting everything from her side of the story. So I'm just not that intrigued by it. I have not been intrigued by um Angela's family drama or Brittany's family drama. I was most interested in this episode in the jab jab, as well as that flash forward we got at the end of the episode that takes us 72 hours into the future after the trip. And we learn about Brittany and Kelly's beef and what's going on there. And I'm really looking forward to the finale because that seems to be where the most drama is, with something happening with Charles and Angela. That was the only other thing on the trip besides the donations and the Glam Squad beef that we'll talk a little bit about. That really interests me was, I keep telling y'all I don't think Charles likes Angela, and that we've seen this type of behavior in other house husbands that were cheating. We saw this with Lisa's husband. We saw this with Ramona's husband. We've seen this kind of behavior before. And it resembles that to me. Just, just me. I'm only talking about me. So I'm interested in seeing what happens there, where Phaedra drops some tea. There's an explosion gonna happen not the reunion, at the finale. So I'm more interested in that. But this episode was a bit boring to me. I'm surprised I'm talking to you guys 12 minutes so far. I really expected this to be like 15 minutes, but I did want to share the whole RHOA alleged scrapping news with you as well. So from a Glam Squad beef perspective, we see Britt sits down with Kelly. And I will say, I feel like Kelly's a punk in one-on-ones. I feel like during arguments in a group setting, she's always yelling something out, like she did when they showed the Juneteenth Bailey barbecue, where she's like, "But do they know about that alleged baby?" She's always yelling something out, or calling Drew a liar at the Bare Naked event, or saying, "Just tell the truth when y'all talk." In a group setting, she stirs the pot, even with the whole donations conversation previously in Grenada. I felt like she started that conversation. It even felt like they were locking eyes, meaning Kelly and Portia and some of the other women, where they were talking about how, yeah, you got to show up and be that girl in all aspects, and you got to donate big, and you can't show up in your Rolls Royce, et cetera, et cetera. That seemed like planned shade towards Brittany, which is supposed to be her friend. But Kelly, in a group setting, stirs the pot, has something to say. Even at how we started when we met her about Portia, I said, why she married that man husband? But when she gets in a one-on-one session, like she did with Portia about her comments, how she did with Angela at Angela's little poor rehab house with the low ceiling, low ceiling and small closets. She starts off the conversation very like, "You look beautiful." In this conversation with Kelly, she started off the conversation talking about herself and trying to give some sympathy, and she's crying about her divorce and what she's going through. When she gets in a one-on-one setting, I feel like Kelly backs down. She's not the barker she is in a group setting. That's just my observation. But she starts off talking about her divorce. She's crying. And because she knows that Kelly is going to come to her and say, "Yo, if you felt the way about my donation," that Brittany is going to come to her and say, "If you felt some way about my donation, why you ain't tell me that? Why we got to do it at the table? Why you ain't have my back when Shamia was trying to rip me a new one?" And Kelly knows that Brittany is right in that situation. I don't care for Brittany, I don't. But in that situation, it was like, "This how you doing your friend? What had happened?" Well, we find out also that there's some tensions about glam squads. Now, I did see when Brittany did her whole press run in New York after the episode of the whole Kenya Moore hair spa, and she went on a New York press run. She was on Watch What Happens Live and some other day talk television shows. Like I believe she was on Sherry Shepherd and may have been on a few others. But I did see that the same stylist that we saw at Kelly's Lemon event also styled her for her New York press run. Now, we know she shared her stylist and her glam squad with Brittany when she was feeling down or when they was in Nashville and she didn't have a glam squad, she shared. And Kelly said she was under the impression that she was sharing with her until she got her own glam squad. And Brittany, on the other hand, is saying that Kelly is having meetings, secret meetings with her glam squad, telling her, don't work with Brittany, don't let her use you guys. So they have some tension that they need to work out there, but that's not a good enough altercation for me on a Real Housewives cash trip. So I wasn't really excited about that. That wasn't like, woo, they're gonna read each other for filth. Like, no, it really didn't go much further than there. I mean, in that conversation, they threw some jabs. Kelly was saying, well, if you're taking your whole staff to get BBLs, I would expect you to give a good donation. And vice versa, right? Where Brittany's saying, well, I just want you to know that you're enough, You don't have to have a full glam squad with you 24/7 and everywhere you go, you need glam. You're enough just by yourself. I felt like those were some little jabs that I was, a little key at, but it wasn't, they didn't take it far enough for me in that moment. Shamia's luggage still must be missing in this episode. It was corny to me. Her and Kelly dressed alike. I guess they were in their souvenir bathing suits from Grenada. Her suitcase finally came when they weren't really gonna wear any clothes to the jab. Her suitcase finally finally came. But I don't know. They were twinning in their souvenir bathing suits. We saw Kelly and Drew have a conversation by the pool where they were bonding. They got married on the same day. They're both going through divorce. Kelly said her husband is on like his sixth lawyer. We know Ralph is like on his third lawyer, but he got a pit bull. I don't think he's switching no more. Because it's going in his favor, if you ask me. But we saw a little bonding there. The minister stopped by. Another minister stopped by. He seems to be the minister of like travel excursions and culture in Grenada. He was handsome. He wasn't like the other prime minister. I told y'all that he looked like a little young boy. He was not cute. I didn't know what they was beefing him up for. But this prime minister, he was handsome. He was cool. And he was telling them about jab and what happens there. And we got a great history lesson from none other than Underground Railroad herself, Miss Portia. She said she had did her research this time on the history of jab, and we learned that back in the days of slavery, the slave masters or people buying slaves considered them or called the slaves jabs, and that was supposed to be symbolized as some type of demon or devil. But the culture of Grenada turned that around and they use that as celebration, and they dress up in this black oil and they dance in the streets. And normally they say it happens like 5 o'clock in the morning. But Shamia, I don't know, she said she pulled the strings of the city of Grenada, the country of Grenada, and they're gonna do it at nighttime so they can experience it. So they had some type of like event that they were hosting, and they went and did it at night. It was a cool experience. I told you guys, y'all know Grenada's on my list, and just seeing how fine these men is, it jumped to the top of the list. But it was a cool history lesson, in my opinion. It really was. And they have a good time. They got the oil all over them. I'm saying, my Lord, how they gonna get this off of them? I know the hotel room and the villa that they stay in, they're gonna be mad at them. That oil was all over them. The men were all over Phaedra, flipping her on top of the table, rubbing her feet. Portia, Miss I'm not ready to date was singing a different tune. She was taking them shots, chugging down that lick, and she was dancing, whining and splitting, and you had Brittany over there doing the fastest twerk I ever seen. Honey was over there like, I ain't never seen nothing like it. But they had a good time at Jab Jab. The next morning they're getting ready to leave, and Kelly talks about she's not ready to head back home and deal with her divorce. Y'all know she had the crystal, the crystal on the trip that she passed around during their first renew conversation, and she said it was split in half. Now she says that she looked up the meaning of a crystal splitting in half and it meant the end of a relationship. How convenient. But let's see. Splitting of a crystal meaning. I don't see that. It doesn't say that. I don't see that. It's just talking about like the splitting of it, what splits it, why. I don't see it symbolizing that. It's telling you if a crystal break, what can you do? I don't know. I have to look into it a little bit more. I was just curious. But she says that we'll go with it, that is symbolizing the end of a relationship. And she wanted to throw the crystal in the water. And that's the most interesting part to me in the episode, where when she's throwing the crystal in the water and she's talking about, they've been on this whole journey, this chapters of this trip where it's been a reset, renew, rebirth, and she throws the crystal, and we get this flash forward, and it says 72 hours into it, and we see she goes, Kelly goes to court. She's not divorced. Her husband, her estranged husband, gets locked up. We see Kelly say that she hasn't heard from Brittany since the trip. We hear this little tea about Charles, and we're gonna build on that. So I'm just like, at this point, rebirth me not, finale me yes. I really was not thrilled with this trip overall. Nothing really happened. The fashions weren't, oh my gosh. I mean, I told you they looked great at the waterfall, but I just wasn't thrilled with this trip. It wasn't giving. I maybe spoil you. You guys know I love Salt Lake City and their trips. Even the St. Lucia trip when Beverly Hills was great. Grenada, 10 out of 10 in my opinion, and getting to see the country and the culture, 10 out of 10. The beefs, the shade, the dinner arguments that we're used to, about a 2 for me. So I'm hoping they can redeem themselves with this finale, or as we build up to the finale with some more episodes. But overall, this honestly didn't even deserve a live recap, in my opinion. That's why we're doing a recorded one today. But those are my thoughts on Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 15. You guys make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And make sure you get all the tea on Instagram, Facebook at reality_recap. Now, we'll be back with a live tea talk tomorrow on Basketball Wives. They are back after a hiatus last week due to the BET Awards, which was a great show, by the way. But my girls are back. I put up a sneak peek. That's why you need to make sure you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. But the sneak peek is up of Basketball Wives. It's going to be a great episode, altercation between Brittany and Jackie. I'm looking forward to it. It looks good, and I'm about to go watch it. It's coming on in 30 minutes, and then I will follow up with some Love Island, because that went hard last night too. So y'all make sure y'all are watching the shows. Come back for a live tea talk. Make sure you set your alerts. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Reality Recap 2876 so you don't miss anything. And again, like, share, and subscribe. Now, before I end my live, as I always say, reality TV stars are humans too. Let's not forget that. It's your girl V with Reality Recap. Y'all have a great Monday evening. Peace.